Have you ever wondered what really happens inside your body, your mind, and your spirit when you stop touching yourself after 60, not out of pain, not out of grief, just out of habit or shame, or the quiet belief that those days are over? You wouldn't be alone in that thought. Many women over 60 grew up in homes where pleasure was whispered about behind closed doors, if it was mentioned at all. The word masturbation wasn't even said aloud. Touching yourself? That was for someone younger, someone unmarried, someone reckless, not for you. So over time you simply stopped. Maybe after menopause, or after your partner passed, or after one too many mornings waking up with aches instead of desire. Maybe no one told you to stop, but no one reminded you it was okay to continue either. And what happens then? The disconnection is quiet at first. Your skin stops feeling like your own. Your hips stiffen. Your breathing stays shallow. And the part of you that once felt alive with even a gentle brush goes numb. Not dead, just asleep. This video isn't about lust. It's about touch. It's about remembering what your body still knows and what it's quietly waiting for you to rediscover. Because when we stop connecting with ourselves in the most personal way, something deeper begins to fade. Not just sensation, but self-trust. And the truth is, you don't have to give that up. You never did. Think of your body like a dear old friend you haven't called in a while. She hasn't gone anywhere. She hasn't stopped loving you. She's just waiting, quietly, patiently, to be remembered. You see, your body doesn't forget what it means to feel alive. It doesn't forget the tingling rush of being seen, even if only by yourself. It doesn't forget warmth or pulse or pleasure. But it does need reminders. When we stop engaging our bodies, when we stop touching, exploring, responding, the body doesn't punish us. It simply assumes it's no longer needed in that way. Circulation slows, sensitivity dulls, tissues lose elasticity. That spark that once made you feel whole dims. For many women over 60, these changes are blamed on age, but often they're caused by absence, not aging. Just like a muscle weakens when left unused, your sensual self can retreat when it's no longer welcomed. But here's the beautiful truth: she can return. The invitation doesn't need to be dramatic. Even the simplest gesture, a slow breath, a kind hand on your own skin, tells your body, I still see you, I still need you. This is not about performance. It's not about turning back time. It's about turning back toward yourself. Because the moment you do, your body remembers, and it answers in the only way it knows how, with warmth, with softness, and with a quiet sigh that says, thank you for coming back. It doesn't happen all at once. You don't wake up one morning feeling empty. It begins quietly. Maybe you stop looking in the mirror as long. Maybe your favorite lotion bottle gets dusty. Maybe you don't remember the last time you felt tender with yourself. This is what emotional disconnection looks like after 60. It sneaks in not with a scream, but with silence. When touch fades, even self-touch, the soul starts to feel distant from the body. You begin moving through the day more like a caretaker than a woman living inside herself. You take your vitamins, you fold the laundry, but something soft inside you goes still. And then come the whispers, I'm not beautiful anymore. I don't feel like a woman. I don't know what I even need anymore. These thoughts aren't vanity. They're signs of absence, of going too long without reconnecting with the parts of you that make you feel real, alive, present. And that's when loneliness changes shape. It stops being about people around you and starts being about the distance from yourself. But here's the good news. This distance is not permanent. Just as you drifted, you can return. Every touch is a breadcrumb leading back to your center. Every moment of attention says, I still matter. I'm still here. And when you show up for yourself emotionally and physically, even in the smallest of ways, your heart begins to soften again. That inner light you feared was lost. It was only waiting for your touch to return. For many men over 60, there's a quiet organ that rarely gets the attention it deserves until it demands it. The prostate. You don't think about it when you feel fine, but when trouble starts, it becomes impossible to ignore. Frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom, that dull pressure you can't quite explain. The feeling that something just isn't flowing like it used to. But here's the surprising part. Many of these issues don't begin with age alone. They begin with inactivity. When self-pleasure stops, especially for long stretches, the prostate starts to stagnate. Fluids that once cleared regularly begin to build up. The gland becomes swollen, inflamed, irritated. Doctors call it congestion, you call it discomfort. But you know what helps prevent it? Something as natural and private as regular ejaculation, even once or twice a week. It's not just about release, it's about health. When you masturbate regularly, you promote blood flow to the area. You reduce pressure, you keep the system clean. It's not indulgence, it's maintenance. Think of it like cleaning a filter. You don't do it for fun. You do it because if you don't, the whole system suffers. And here's what matters most. You don't need anyone's permission to take care of your body. Not a doctor, not a partner, not your past beliefs. Just you, your health, your right to feel well, in the most personal of ways. So if you've been ignoring your prostate's quiet messages, maybe it's time to listen. Because prevention doesn't always come in a bottle. Sometimes it begins with you, your hand, your attention, and a little more care than you gave yourself yesterday. You might not think about hormones or brain chemicals when you're alone, quietly tending to yourself. But behind that private moment, a storm of healing, balancing, and restoring begins inside your brain. Because the truth is, masturbation isn't just a physical release, it's a neurochemical gift. Every time you reach climax, your brain releases a cocktail of natural compounds designed to calm, soothe, and strengthen you. Dopamine, your motivation and pleasure hormone. It says you did something good. Oxytocin, the bond builder. It tells your nervous system, you're safe. Endorphins, the natural painkillers. They bring lightness and clarity. Prolactin, the sleep supporter. It helps your body rest and restore. For seniors, this hormonal cascade can be a lifeline, because aging often comes with stress, worry, insomnia, and even depression. But what if the antidote wasn't in another pill? What if it was already built into your body? That's the beauty of it. You're not reaching for something foreign. You're activating your own chemistry, nature's pharmacy, with a simple, honest moment of self-care. And it's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about lasting balance. Better mood, sharper memory, less anxiety, deeper sleep, more emotional ease. Think of it this way. Every time you honor your body with presence, your brain thanks you. Not with noise or applause, but with quiet balance and well-being that lingers long after the moment is over. You don't need permission to feel better. You just need to return to yourself. As we get older, something subtle begins to fade, not just from our days, but from our bodies. Touch, fewer hugs, less hand-holding. Moments of physical warmth become rare, and even more quietly, many stop touching themselves entirely, not sexually at first, but at all. We bathe out of routine. We dress with efficiency. We sit, we sleep, we move. But we rarely feel, rarely connect. But here's the truth. Touch is a basic human need, not just when it comes from others, but when it comes from you. When you place your hands on your own body, not out of criticism, but care, something shifts. Your body stops being just a vessel to maintain. It becomes a home again, a place worth tending to, worth honoring. And masturbation? In this stage of life, it's not about lust. It's about presence. a private ritual, a message whispered inward. I'm still here. I still matter. Too often, older adults begin treating their bodies like projects: doctor's visits, prescriptions, pain management. But where is the kindness? Where is the comfort? Self-touch, in any form, restores that softness. It rewires your relationship to aging. It replaces fear with gentleness. It says, you still belong to you. You don't need to be in a relationship to feel closeness. You don't need someone else's hands to remind you that you're worthy of affection. All it takes is a few minutes of attention, without shame, without rush. Because when you touch yourself with kindness, your body remembers what it means to be loved. And that, at any age, is healing. Let's talk about something tender. Something many people over 60 feel but rarely say aloud. The absence of a partner. Maybe you lost someone to time or illness. Maybe the spark in your marriage dimmed quietly over the years. Maybe you simply live alone, by choice or by circumstance. And when that happens, intimacy often feels like a chapter that's closed. But here's the truth. Intimacy doesn't end when relationships do, because real intimacy was never only about another person. It's about you, your ability to feel, to connect, to soften into your own body and soul. Masturbation in later life is not a replacement for someone else. It's a reconnection to yourself. It tells your nervous system you are not forgotten. You are still touchable. You are still alive in here. It sends signals to your spirit that comfort is still available, even in solitude. That pleasure doesn't belong only to youth or romance. Think about this. You've lived through decades of change, losses, transitions, reinventions. You've relearned how to live more than once. So why can't you relearn how to feel close to yourself? True self-intimacy is power. It's not a consolation prize. It's independence. The kind that says, I know how to care for me even when no one else is around. And it matters. Because when you stop tending to your own emotional and physical closeness, you risk forgetting how vibrant you really are. Masturbation in this light is not about fantasy. It's about dignity. It's about reminding yourself, I still belong to this body. I still deserve joy, even in silence. So if your bed is empty, that doesn't mean your life is. You still have access to tenderness, to warmth, to touch, to you. And that is intimacy in its purest form. You didn't ask for the shame. It was handed to you, maybe by a quiet glance at the dinner table when you asked too bold a question, maybe by a sermon that confused morality with suppression, maybe by silence, the loudest teacher of all. But here's the truth that your younger self never got to hear, that shame was never yours to carry. So let's unpack it gently. For many Americans over 60, the topic of self-pleasure still feels taboo. Not because it is wrong, but because we were taught it was. We were told that good people don't do that real love only exists between two people, that touching yourself is a symptom of loneliness, weakness, or sin. But let me ask you something. If brushing your hair is self-care, if walking is good for your heart, if prayer or meditation is good for your soul, why would gentle, loving touch from you to you be any different? It isn't. It's a human need, a basic form of grounding, and yet the guilt many seniors feel around masturbation is so deep that it stops them from caring for their bodies at all. So let me say it plainly. You are not too old to feel. You are not too old to enjoy. You are not too old to reclaim this part of yourself. Shame is a cage, and aging gives you the key, because you've earned the right to live on your own terms, not by the rules of a religion or a relative, not by outdated scripts whispered in childhood, but by your own experience, your own truth. When you drop the shame, something opens. Your shoulders relax. Your sleep deepens. Your smile comes easier. You look in the mirror and see someone whole, not half. This is not about rebellion. It's about returning to what always belonged to you, your body, your comfort, your choice. So breathe. Let the shame go. It was never yours to begin with. You don't need candles or romance novels. You don't need to pretend you're 25 again. You just need a quiet room and permission. Your own permission. Let's start simple. First, choose a space that feels calm and undisturbed. A bedroom, a warm bath, even your favorite chair by the window. Turn off distractions, the news, the phone, the world. This time is yours. It doesn't need to be long. It only needs to be honest. Next, patience. Your body has changed. That's not a problem. It's a fact. What worked 30 years ago might not feel the same. That doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're living. So treat yourself the way you'd treat someone you love, with curiosity, with kindness, with respect. Use lubrication if needed. There's no shame in comfort, only wisdom. It prevents dryness, irritation, and lets you focus on sensation, not struggle. For men, slow is key. There's no race. For women, don't rush to climax. Explore what feels warm, grounding, tender. Let go of performance. Embrace presence. You are not trying to impress. You're trying to reconnect. Body to self, moment to meaning. And here's the secret. It's not about the act itself. It's about what it awakens. You may find that after just a few minutes, your mood softens. You feel less alone, more alive, more inside your skin. That's the healing. That's the magic. And no, you don't need anyone else in the room. This is self-care, not self-judgment. Do it once a week. Do it once a month. There's no rule book, only rhythm. What matters is that you remember. Touch is not a reward for youth. It's a right at every age. So take that right back, with gentleness, with dignity, with intention. This is how you come home to yourself. Let's talk honestly. What happens when you ignore something long enough? It stops calling for your attention, but not because it no longer matters. It goes silent because it's tired of being dismissed. That's what happens when you stop connecting to your body in this way. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, humanly. At first, it's just a little dryness, then maybe some restless sleep, some tension that won't go away, some anxiety that lingers like fog in the morning. Then come the deeper costs. Your circulation slows, your hormones shift out of balance, your sense of pleasure dulls, not just in intimacy, but in food, music, laughter. Your mirror becomes a stranger. And what's worse, you start believing the lie that this is just aging, that this is normal, that this is fine. But it's not fine. It's not inevitable. It's not the only path. Ignoring your body doesn't make you noble. It makes you numb. And when that numbness spreads, from the bedroom to the brain to the spirit, you begin to disappear. Not in a dramatic way, in the slow, silent way that nobody talks about, but you can reverse it, right here, right now, with one quiet choice: to stop ignoring yourself, to stop shrinking away from your right to feel. Masturbation in your 60s, 70s, 80s, it's not about reliving youth. It's about reclaiming the fullness of being alive, because the cost of ignoring your needs is too high, and the reward of honoring them, peace, comfort, confidence, connection. You are not broken. You are not done. You are still listening, and that means you still have power. If you've stayed with me this long, I want to leave you with something simple, but powerful. You are not here by accident. You are still breathing, still waking up, still hoping, still learning. And your body, yes, your body, is still part of that journey. So let's say it plainly. This isn't about sex, it's about permission. Permission to be human, to be alive, to be whole. Not in memory, not in theory, but in this very moment. Masturbation is not some shameful secret from the past. It's a sacred act of staying connected to yourself, your joy, your health, your peace. It's a way of saying, I'm not giving up, I'm not fading. I still matter. Even in solitude, you can feel warmth. Even in stillness, you can feel strength. Even in aging, you can feel alive. And if no one ever told you this before, hear it now. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel comforted. You deserve to feel like you. Let go of the rules they gave you when you were too young to question them. Let go of the shame they passed down like an unwanted gift. Let go of the silence that told you this part of you didn't belong anymore. Because it does. And you do. So take a breath, close the door, turn down the noise of the world, and give yourself back to yourself. You've earned this connection. You've earned this comfort. You've earned this moment. And that, my friend, is not weakness. That is the most dignified act of all.